Why can they not change? Everyone can change. I can help them change. It's something that keeps a lot of people trapped in the hope that a narcissist will change and become the person they sold themselves to be. This video is the reasons why a narcissist cannot change. Thank you very much to all the returning subscribers and your continued support. If you are new to the channel, this channel is all about the narcissist personality disorder to give you more understanding of the people you might have been dealing with throughout your life, how to handle those people if you cannot go no contact, and different methods to work out what works for you to recover from narcissistic abuse. If you do find the information helpful on the channel, please do subscribe. So yes, it's true, everybody has the capability of changing. But first, people need to be aware of what they need to change. They need to be aware of who they are as a person in the present and who they would like to become in the future. A narcissist often isn't aware of these things, and the bits they are aware of, they are often either too ashamed about or insecure about, or believe that that pattern of behaviour works for them, so they see no reason to change. Or they're too ashamed to open up their vulnerabilities to other people, so they don't want to change. In order to change, people have to accept responsibility for the things they do and who they are as a person, which is often why we change ourselves time and time again for a narcissist, because we're accepting all the responsibility for the things that go wrong within the relationship due to a narcissist gaslighting and blame shifting. Therefore, a narcissist accepts no responsibility for the things that go wrong and sees no reason as to why they need to change themselves. They believe you are the one that needs to change, and no matter how much you change for them, it will never be enough for them. In order to change, people need to have a need to change. They have to have a want, a desire, a passion to change something within their lives, which is often why narcissistic people who are envious will change their lives, they will change their partners, they will change their pattern of behaviour, but they do not change their true selves. In order to change behaviour, we have to have the empathy to care for how our behaviour affects those around us. As narcissistic people lack in empathy, they simply don't see a reason why they would need to change. So as much as we can't tell how another person is thinking, we can work through their patterns of behaviour and the characteristics of the disorder and the meanings behind those characteristics to work out why they are unwilling to change. And firstly, a narcissist is often preoccupied with ultimate or unlimited success. They are preoccupied with creating the ideal, whatever that ideal is to the individual narcissist. It can be the ideal career, it can be the ideal family, it can be the ideal sport, it can be the ideal body, whatever it is to that narcissist. And healthy people can be preoccupied with a passion and creating that ideal. The difference is a narcissist will exploit other people to create that ideal without the empathy to care for who they exploit. A healthy person would do it in a way that also tries to help others as well as themselves. Narcissists live in a fantasy world and they are willing to take any shortcut possible to get there as quickly as they possibly can. They are unable to recognise their wrongdoings for what they are, and those that they do recognise, they quickly lie and deny and shift the blame onto other people to escape accountability for the things they actually do. They find that this behaviour works for them. Therefore, they don't see a reason to change this behaviour. And if it doesn't work for them, they simply blame those around them and believe it's because of those around them that they haven't succeeded, that other people are envious of them and other people have brought the narcissist down. So to a narcissist, it's those other people that need to change and not the narcissist themselves. 2, they feel entitled to do as they please. If they think that others perceive them in a negative light, they simply blame somebody else, whoever's available to pass the blame or the shame onto, to excuse their toxic behaviour, or the words of, if they hadn't, I wouldn't. It's because of them that I didn't. And as they often believe within themselves that's the reason, they don't see why they should have to change. They just see that other people should change to suit the narcissist. As they feel entitled to have things their own way, when things don't go their own way, they don't see themselves at fault. They don't see the wrongdoings in their own behaviour, and they're unwilling to accept responsibility for their own behaviour. And when they're not going to hold themselves accountable for their own lives, they are going to go around holding everybody else accountable. And a lot of people, when it comes to recovery from narcissistic relationships, a lot of people can be shamed into believing they are now passing the blame over to the other person for the failings of the relationship or for walking away from parents. When people haven't lived it, they don't see it. Or when narcissistic people that know or are aware of their behaviour but don't want to change their behaviour, they're going to try and gaslight people into thinking that way. When there's a difference, narcissistic people blame people to get away with what they are doing to people. Those in recovery have often blamed themselves for a long period of time, which has kept them trapped in the cycle of abuse. In order to change, they are now becoming aware of their own behaviour, their behaviour they've accepted from other people that they shouldn't have accepted from other people. They are passing the responsibility back to the rightful owner for their behaviour. They are being held accountable for their own behaviour, and they are aware of the situation in its entirety so that they can learn, so that they can grow, so that they can develop, and so that they can change. Things that narcissistic people can't do. They just shift the blame by saying that you're blaming it all on me, when you're not blaming it all on them. You're just aware of who they are as a person. So now you can break away and break free from who they are as a person. 3, narcissistic people believe they are special. They don't admit to fault. They don't admit to making mistakes. So again, when people are coming at you saying that you're the one passing all the blame onto the narcissist, when you're someone who admits faults in your life, when you're someone who recognises mistakes and takes on board other people's mistakes as well as your own, you are not the narcissist. 4, a lack of empathy to care, oblivious to other people's feelings, wants, needs, desires, dreams, unless they can use those against people. Always right, refusal to admit faults. If they feel like they cannot win, they will get you to react so they can blame you for their reactions, or they will use the passive aggressive and fall silent on you. They will rage on you to cause that fear. They will future fake to cause that hope. Anything so that the narcissist can win. When you've spent time and time again losing who you are as a person, trying to save a relationship with your parents, your siblings, your friends, your partner, your children, it's because you have the empathy to care. You have changed your approach. You might have changed your circumstances. You might have changed your hobbies. You might have changed who you are as a person, trying and doing all you can to please them, not realising the negative effects it's had on yourself until you are out of the situation and can start to see it more clearly. Narcissistic people lack the empathy to care for other people. Therefore, they don't see a reason to change because they do not care for how their behaviour affects others. They will only offer those false apologies if they believe that their behaviour has affected themselves in a negative way, and they need to say, "I'm sorry, you," in order to get what they want from you. 5, they exploit people. They lie about everything and anything. They are only interested if it meets a need of their own. They are very controlling and they use people to achieve a need of their own. The fact that they're willing to exploit people shows they lack the empathy to care for people. And when by exploiting people, they get their needs met, and people often, they gaslight people and they blame shift it onto people, so people often forgive the narcissist. The narcissist learns that that behaviour works for them, and they often see that there's no reason to change that behaviour until it's too late. And even if they do recognise that they need to change that behaviour, they're often stuck in that cycle. They are stuck in that pattern that they don't see another way. 6, narcissists are very envious of other people and they believe people are envious of them. If a narcissist is to do something for another person, they are going to expect something in return. They expect eternal gratitude. They expect praise. If they're not interested in something, they lack the attention span to listen. They are extremely stubborn. They are always trying to outdo others. They are always trying to bring other people down to feel better about themselves. When they believe others are envious of them, when people try to explain to them how they could do things differently to get a better outcome, they believe that other people are trying to sabotage them and bring them down, so they're not going to listen to that person. They believe in this because the narcissist themselves is often trying to sabotage and bring other people down. 7, their grandiosity. They see themselves as above other people. They see themselves as better than other people. They have unrealistic high standards of other people. They themselves are never to be seen as wrong. Common rules don't apply to a narcissist. They're often very high risk takers. So when it comes to a narcissist, it is one rule for them and another rule for you. And if you break those rules, if you step out of line, you are wrong and they are right. And if they break those rules, if they step out of line, they are right and you made them do it. 8, they require that excessive attention, so they are only ever going to do something if it meets a need of their own. They are only ever going to be willing to give if they can take. They will play the victim to gain attention. They will play the hero to gain attention, and it often works for them. They will guilt trip to gain attention from other people. They will cheat to gain attention from other people. And number 9, they are arrogant enough to believe that they can get away with it. They are unpleasantly proud of who they are. They are unpleasantly proud of pulling others down to feel better about themselves. They cannot see their own weaknesses, so they do not see a reason to change anything about who they are. They don't see their own mistakes, so they are incapable of learning from those mistakes. In order to learn from mistakes, we have to be able to recognise our mistakes. And during a narcissistic relationship, we are often gaslighted into not seeing our own mistakes. It's only once out of the situation that we begin to see what has been happening to us. A narcissist will pass the blame over to someone else for their mistakes, so they don't learn from them. To them, it's always someone else's fault. They feel entitled to break agreements, and they feel arrogant enough to get away with breaking those agreements, because whatever agreement they've broken, there'll be a reason that someone did something in order to make the narcissist break that agreement. They make a promise in the moment to meet a need of their own, but they are quite impulsive. They don't think about the future event, and they lack the empathy to care for those who they will hurt by breaking those promises to them. They don't listen to others. They're not willing to listen to gain a mutual understanding or respect for other people. They're adverse to any form of criticism, real or perceived criticism, whether that is constructive criticism or negative criticism. To a narcissist, criticism is a narcissistic injury, and they will all outrage, which will be your fault for causing that criticism in the first place, because they don't recognise their weaknesses, they can't own their weaknesses. They then explode if someone was to accidentally or meaningfully point out their weakness. When they rage, they then have to provoke somebody else into raging or find a way to shift the blame onto the other person. They are overbearing, and they put their needs before all others, and they will lie to make sure that their needs get met before other people's. And you cannot help one change. Psychologists, therapists, professionals around the world are trying to work on ways to help a narcissist. You cannot help a narcissist. They will only bring you down. The more we forgive them, the more we enable their mistreatment of us, the more they learn that it is acceptable for them to treat us that way. The only way we can help a narcissist learn is by walking away to teach them that is not acceptable. They will still go around blaming us and saying it's our fault in one way or another. That is completely up to them. That is their life. It is a hard enough job changing ourselves. We cannot be responsible for changing other people. We cannot be responsible for making other people aware of their own behaviour. We can only be responsible for being aware of our own behaviour, our own reactions, so that we can learn from our own mistakes and not repeat them in the future, so that we can learn our values, our beliefs, our boundaries, and no longer let people in who are willing to take those from us. And even if a narcissist was to change, they sold you an illusion of who they were at that time. If they were to change, they're not going to change into the person they sold themselves to be. It's not who they are. They would change into somebody, again, that you don't know. Our job isn't to change them. Our job is to recognise them for who they are and walk in a different direction from them. If anyone has anything to add to the comments of why they don't believe a narcissist could change, please drop that into the comments, because our hope that a narcissist can change, and a narcissist will often hoover us and re-idolise us, love bomb us with those promises of change. I'll go to therapy. I can change with your help. They know how to play on our emotions. They know how to guilt trip us to keep us trapped in that situation so that they can exploit us all the more. They only ever change to suit themselves. They don't change to care about other people. I shall add the video into the description that explains more about a narcissist's lack of empathy. Thank you very much for listening, and remember, you are aware of who you are. You are aware of the mistakes you've made. You are able to learn. You are able to grow. You are able to change into becoming the person you want to be. And half of that is the people we surround ourselves with. Thank you very much for listening, and go out there and start creating the life that you deserve for you, because everyone deserves a good life, but it is down to that individual person to create that life for themselves.